Titanium frame locks have become very common among higher end knives. And I want to talk today about what's so cool about these knives and what to kind of look for if you want to buy one and how to get a good one. So one reason that these knives have become so popular is that they are very good looking. This solid metal construction gives you a lot of freedom to machine things into the knife to make things kind of good looking on there. You can do lots of design work. You can do anodization and get some really cool colors like you can see on this Kizer. There's just a lot you can do with a bare piece of titanium that makes these knives really classy. I have several that have kind of carbon fiber inlays like this. So those look very classy as well. So that makes these great on the gentleman's folder kind of area of knife. The other thing about these that can be very nice is that they can be made very durably. Again, it's a solid piece of metal for the side of your knife. Titanium is well known to be pretty durable as long as the knife is designed properly and enough metal is left in the right places, which is something we'll talk about later. These can end up being very nice, durable knives. The other thing that's kind of cool about these knives is that they are relatively simple to manufacture. So unlike something like an axis lock knife, where you've got liners, and then you've got scales, and then you've got a locking mechanism with little springs and a sliding bar, all you really have with this is that frame lock that kind of kicks over, and that's the only piece of locking mechanism that you have. Other than that, your bearings and your blade are the only moving pieces on this whole kind of setup. So that makes frame locks rather easy to manufacture from that standpoint of time. Now, it's not necessarily easy to get one right, which is what we're going to talk about next. Let's talk about what needs to happen in order to make a frame lock the right way and get it to work. So first off, you need to have a lock bar that contacts enough surface on the blade that it doesn't wear out. So let me show you kind of what I'm talking about here. If you look at the inside mechanism of the knife, you're going to see this little spot right here. So when the knife is open, that little spot is what makes contact with the lock bar right here. So if you're looking inside the knife, you can see that little flat spot slips into place. It's this little spot right here. And when the lock bar clicks into place, it engages with that little flat spot. And that is what slides back and forth against the steel insert in the lock bar and locks the knife open and shut. So over the life of the knife, that little piece slides in and out thousands and thousands of times, and that is what wears out and makes frame locks go bad. That's one reason why these little pieces, the steel is an insert. Supposedly those are replaceable. On some knives they are. This little piece on the inside here is a little steel insert in that lock bar that grinds against the other steel. That's how it's done in better frame locks. In cheaper ones, you're going to see no steel insert, and the titanium itself is going to hit there and wear out even faster. So if that is kind of small, like it is on this Kizer, what you're going to see is that knife will wear out more quickly. This is a better design. This is the lock face on this is a Tacray, a knock knives. So you can see this is about 3 or 4 times the size of what it was on the Kizer, so that when the knife opens, what you're going to get is that whole lock face right there sliding into place on this giant lock bar right there, which actually the steel piece you can see comes all the way down to here. So that full piece of steel is engaged all the way along there onto that lock bar. And this means that this knife is going to last a lot longer, right? You got a lot more steel that you have to wear out before that lock bar starts closing further and further and further and eventually wears itself out. So that is one of the main things you want to look for on a titanium frame lock is how big is that lock face and is this knife going to last a long time? Another thing you want to look for on a frame lock is how much material has been left in the lock bar. So if you're looking at the lock bar, we're talking about this piece right down here where the lock bar attaches to the rest of the knife from here to here, and you can see how thin it gets. So if there has been not a lot of material left in there, what you're going to see is when I push on the lock bar with my thumb, see how it moves right here? So see that flexing in the lock bar? Again, that means that this is not necessarily a super sturdy lock. That means that there's flexibility here, and in hard use, that might twist and open up, or it might wear out and break eventually. If you look at the other knife we were talking about, this is the Knock Knives, a Tacray. I really like this one because if you see as I unlock it and then push on it, I'm pushing really hard on that, and it's barely or not even moving at all. Yeah, you can see how much the other one moved, and this one really doesn't move at all. You can see there's a lot thicker of some material there. They've left some raised edges for durability, and they've just left a whole lot of material down here where there's the most leverage, top to bottom. So this is a very durable design in a frame lock. This is the KUBEY Nova, so this is somewhere in between. So while you can see this lock face is pretty small, meaning that's going to wear out fairly quickly, the frame lock on this one is also very stiff. So as I'm pushing on it, I'll unlock it here. You can see there's hardly any movement at all in that frame lock because they've left a lot of material down here. So this is kind of your 50-50 proposition of not so well designed lock face, but really well designed frame lock.